What if I told you that there was a way you can identify hot selling trending products on Amazon weeks before anybody else finds them, so that way you can be the first on those product listings? Last month alone, my students have been able to sell collectively a little bit over $5 million worth of product on Amazon using the exact strategies that I'm going to showcase to you inside of this YouTube video. So let's get into it. So whether you've tried selling on Amazon before, or maybe you're even completely brand new to this whole entire process, everything I'm going to explain to you in this video will outline the foundational aspects that you need to have in place to identify the best products that you should be selling on your Amazon store or for your brand new Amazon store as well. And everything I'm going to explain to you inside of this video is going to walk you through the strategies that I utilize for my mentorship students that I've been able to help over 600 students with their own Amazon stores over the last 4 years. You're going to learn exactly what tool to use, what specific data points you need to be looking at, and how exactly you can identify the top selling products for your Amazon business. All right, so before we get into the whole nitty-gritty technical aspects of actually the process, you first need to understand the common mistakes that a lot of people make when it comes to starting an Amazon business or even an online selling business in general. So to be clear here, guys, we always going to want to follow along with what is called a 70-30 rule. Okay, I've talked about this in numerous different videos. 70% of your products are going to be focused in major categories, 4 to 5 different major categories. The specific strategies that we're going to talk about today will be about the other 30% of your inventory of the products that you list that you're going to want to be identifying. The 30% encompasses seasonal items, trending items, specific economic factors that can influence consumer purchasing behaviors. These are the specific strategies to help you increase your sales for a short duration of time, but by no means necessary is this going to allow you to be able to produce consistent long-term income. You always have to remember that you need to have your economic driver categories that you're selling within inside of your Amazon business to be able to make sure you got that consistency. And what we're going to talk about today is how to get uptick of sales for a short duration of time to identify hot trending products before anybody else does. So to that point as well, what ends up happening for a lot of people is they oftentimes see something happening on social media, or they see something happening in the world and it's too late, right? Because when everyone else is talking about something, that's when you know that you're already too late to the game. And that's when you know that there's going to be tons and different types of aspects associated with different types of products being sold, different product variations for one exact product. And the best example I can probably give you was maybe things like, let's say for example, fidget spinners, right? Fidget spinners used to be a thing, right? But only ever people really started selling fidget spinners once they truly started to take off. And in that situation, right, when you have a large amount of people coming to one particular product to sell, no matter what their marketing strategy is, no matter how different the product might actually be at the end of the day, you're going into a crowded place, and that often causes a lot of over competition, that causes a lot of oversaturation, which is, again, guys, why we follow the 70-30 rule. Because selling on Amazon is not saturated. It all depends on how the strategy you utilize that's going to dictate the results that you get. And the results that you get is going to influence your decision on whether or not it's saturated or whether or not it's not saturated. So here's exactly a checklist of what exactly is going to work for you and what you need to be able to take a look at and what tools you need to be utilizing to understand specifically what goes into these trending products. So first things first, we're going to talk about the tool. Okay, so the tool we're going to be utilizing is a tool called AMZScout. AMZScout at the end of the day is a very simplified Amazon dropshipping tool that we utilize to be able to identify a couple different data points. Now, predominantly in what you're going to hear me talk about in today's video is the best seller rank, right? The BSR. Now, for those who are unaware what the best seller rank is, it's a specific data point that Amazon provides for every single product listing that is sold on Amazon that helps us know how it ranks within a particular major product category and a major subcategory as well on top of that. So your BSR is something that's going to be changing per product because some products sell more than others. And how the BSR works is the higher the BSR, the less that product actually sells. The lower the BSR, that product sells relatively frequently. So I know it kind of sounds a little bit backwards, but at the end of the day, what you always want to be able to make sure of is think of it as like a race, right? So first place is the best place. That's the number one place that everyone wants to be at. So if you have a product that has a BSR of 1, it's the first place product. It's the product that's overperforming comparatively to all the other products that are going to be out there on the Amazon marketplace. So we're going to utilize AMZScout to understand how the BSR works. How does that influence the estimated monthly sales on a 30-day basis? And we're going to help understand a little bit in regards to specific trends that you're going to want to keep up on, and how to analyze specific information to know if this is a product that is about to pick up or if this is a product that is not worth listing. So outside of just AMZScout, what you're also going to want to be looking for is the best seller rank to be somewhere, let's say, for example, within the range of 500,000 or below. Okay, so anything more than 500,000, I wouldn't necessarily consider worth listing on your Amazon inventory. And then to that point, you're also going to want to make sure that there's a well-known brand associated to the product that you want to be selling. Right. So remember, guys, when you're selling on Amazon, you're going to be basically capitalizing on big name brands that are already producing insane results, right? Nespresso, Keurig, and different types of brands like that are already well established, that people know, like, and trust. And that's why when we're selling in Amazon in the way that we do it, you never have to spend any money on ads. You never have to run PPC or build a website or anything like that, because people are already going to these products because they're reputable brand names. So you want to make sure that as you're going through this, you're identifying reputable brand name products that are doing significantly well. And to that point, this one's a little bit more technical here, you're going to want to make sure there's at least 2 other third-party Amazon sellers on that exact product listing also. Right, so the reason why we do this is to be able to make sure that if we can identify there's other people like me selling on that particular product listing, I know that is what is called a reseller friendly product listing that I can list on without there being any sort of IP complaints, violations, or anything of that nature. Although this method is going to be what you're going to be predominantly focusing on when you are doing product research, it's going to be very lucrative, because when you're able to identify products that people aren't currently looking for right now, that you can be able to identify early are going to be trending very shortly, you can have higher profit margins. You can be a first mover on that particular product listing, which means you have higher profit margins. You have the ability to scoop up as many sales before a particular item ends up being too saturated or over competitive. And that gives you the ability to get in, make the money where you can make the money, and then just simply move on after that point. And the reason why you're going to have higher profit margins is because you're going to have less people on those product listings, because people don't realize exactly what I'm explaining to you inside of this video. So make sure you take notes, make sure you're keeping everything that I'm telling you in mind, so that way you can be able to go ahead and actually implement what I'm about to show you here. So let's get into my screen. So the first research method we're going to be talking about is going from supplier to Amazon. But the one most important thing a lot of people make a very consistent mistake on is they first start their research method directly on Amazon. So let's say, as a hypothetical, right, in the time of this recording, I know that it's mid-July. There's a lot of people that are in the process of, buying pools, let's say, or spending a lot of time outdoors. So if I'm someone, let's say, for example, that's going to be wanting to be buying, let's say, an inflatable pool, what a lot of people oftentimes do is they go ahead and type in inflatable pool right here, and then they go ahead and click search, and they start their product research off of what the search algorithm has on Amazon. Now, the reason why this is a very poor approach, and why this oftentimes results in not a lot of people making or being able to find profitable items, is because when you search up a specific search term on Amazon directly, the first thing that's always going to pop up is the best of the best product listings from head to toe. Right now, the issue with that is that these are product listings that people are continuously buying day in and day out. These are already the top producing products within the specific search term that we're looking at, right? So you're not even going in a realm where there's people that are missing out on opportunities. You're going in a realm where it's already crowded, right? So if you're going to a place where there's already going to be people within it, at the end of the day, the results are going to be affected accordingly in regards to finding a profitable item that you can actually list. And even oftentimes, right, like how the Amazon search algorithm works, and this is what we call the predictive search tool. The predictive search tool is, if I go inflatable, I can then see the predictive search based on consumer purchasing behavior. Amazon actually tracks this. What specific products or what specific terms are they then searching after the term inflatable? So I can see the next search term is actually pool. After that, we have hot tub. After that, we have water slide. After that, we have pool for adults. We have paddle boards, pool slides, pool kids, and so on. So the predictive search is quite literally Amazon telling you what are people actually inputting after they actually input the inflatable term or any specific term, right? So if I go here and I type in like kitchen, let's say, for example, I know people oftentimes look for kitchen islands or kitchen mats for floor or kitchen towels, kitchen tables, kitchen appliances, trash cans, and kitchen curtains, and so on. So don't start your research method on Amazon directly. The reason why is because you're already going to get exposure to the best of the best product listings that are already on Amazon, where people are already listing their products as. These are products that you're already in a position where there's going to be a whole bunch of other sellers on these product listings. They might be a little bit over competitive. So just be mindful that also other product listings, as you go through it, they might be running advertisements for their product listings. So when you see a product pop up here at the first part of the search bar, whenever you see something that is specifically sponsored, as you can see here, what ends up happening with that means that that exact brand themselves are running advertisements for that particular product, right? So I don't want to be in a situation where I'm going in a place where people are already looking and these are already the top performing product listings as is. That's not how you do your research. Although it might sound, very simple and actually something that can generate an ROI for you, it will not, because you're going into realms where it's already competitive as is. So let me show you exactly what to do instead. All right, so as I mentioned to you guys, right, the name of the game with this is reselling big brand name products. Now, when I want to resell big brand name products, my number one priority is to be able to ensure that first I'm finding a brand, right? And if you don't know what brands are the best performing brands within a particular product category or whatnot, or what are the best reseller friendly brands that you could be able to utilize, what I want you to do as a fun little exercise, pause this video, go inside of your kitchen. And when you go inside of your kitchen, I want you to take a look at your microwave. I want you to take a look at your toaster. I want you to take a look at your coffee machine, your blender, let's say, for example, your ice machine as well. You can take a look at, let's say, for example, maybe your mini fridge, maybe your dishwasher, maybe your knife set block, and take a look at those brand names. Right? The brand names that you currently have inside of your household, truth be told, are the brand names of the types of products that we're actually going to want to be reselling, right? But what you can also do is you can utilize ChatGPT here to be able to give you the answers if you don't feel like going through the process of going inside of your kitchen and identifying what brands. So I can just go into ChatGPT and I can say, what brands are the most well-known for, and then I'll input a category here, okay? So the reason why I want to do this is I want to indicate not just best kitchen brands or whatnot, be specific, right? So what brands are the most well-known for, let's say, for example, coffee machines, and I'll go ahead and click search. So when I go ahead and click search, what's going to end up happening is ChatGPT, based on whatever it is that it finds, is going to give me a list of all the different types of brands and brand names that are the most well-known inside of this particular product category. All right, so as I go ahead and input this specific prompt within ChatGPT, I can then see it's going to give me a list of different brands. So we have Breville, we have DeLonghi, we have Ranchillo, we have whatever this is, same thing, Jura, and so on and so forth. So it's giving me a lot of different options: Keurig, Nespresso, Tassimo, and so on. So I'm going to use this as a tool to be able to ensure, like, okay, I'm getting brand ideation. I'm trying to understand what brands can I be able to take a look at to start sourcing specifically. So now I can do this for any particular category, but how can you do this for a specific trending product? Well, what you're going to do is, instead of putting a generic category that you have here, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to think about specifically the time of the year that you're currently in right now, right? So the time of the year that you're currently in right now influences consumer purchasing behavior. So as I can see, right, I'm in summer, let's say, for example, right? And a great category for summer type of products is going to be tools, home improvement. So let's say for tools and home improvement products, and I'm gonna go ahead and click search. Now ChatGPT is going to give me the best trusted and well-known brand names. We have DeWalt, Milwaukee, Makita, Bosch, and Festool, and Showa, and so on. You got Ryobi, Craftsman, Rigid, and Cobalt as well. So what I'm going to do with my research method now is I'm going to go from supplier to supplier that I do have available, depending on what your specific marketplace is. So suppliers, if you are selling in the US marketplace, you're going to utilize US-based suppliers. You're not going to utilize anything overseas. If you're in the Canadian marketplace, you're going to be selling within Canadian-based suppliers. You're not going to utilize anything overseas. And if you're in the UK marketplace, you're going to be utilizing UK-based suppliers, all right? So just be mindful in specific situations like that. You don't want to be utilizing something that's coming from outside of the borders, in whatever marketplace that you're actually selling in. Now, when I go on Costco.com, what I want to take a look at is taking any one of the brands that they have available here and check to see if they host those products, right? So let's say if I take DeWalt, what I'm going to do with DeWalt, I'm going to go ahead and click search. Once I click search, I'm going to want to take a look at what products specifically they have available, okay? And this is the number one thing that you need to be focusing on with your product research process, is you got to be able to ensure that you're starting from your supplier and then cross-referencing over onto Amazon specifically, right? And then this way, you're going to be able to understand what specific products a supplier has available comparatively to another supplier. But be mindful, guys, you're going to be utilizing this method going from supplier to Amazon for at least 4 to 5 different major categories, right? And if you want to be able to have a little bit more insight and know what tools and resources to use, within my mentorship program, where I've been able to help over 600 people, we give you exactly what you need. So we're going to give you a list of over 4,000 suppliers for you to be able to utilize, depending on what marketplace you're selling. And we're also going to indicate specifically a list of about 4 to 8 specific suppliers for you to utilize right away that are dropship friendly as well, right? So if you want to be a part of the mentorship program, we're going to walk you through and give you suppliers. We're going to give you the exact product research methods, right? So we teach 4 different product research methods for you to make money with your Amazon business, just like MJ did in her first 30 days to make over $22,000 in total sales and over $4,000 in sales in one single day alone as a single mom of 4 kids. Then all you got to do is click the link in the description down below to be able to apply to be a part of the mentorship program. So let's continue. So what I would simply do here is I'd simply click into any random product that I had available, take this, copy it, and when I go ahead and copy it, I'm going to head back over on into Amazon, and then I'm going to go ahead and click search. Okay, so that's just really the oversimplified version of how do I identify specifically what your exact supplier might be offering. So as I go ahead and go on here, right, I can then see that a specific product like this chainsaw, right? So I can see that this particular chainsaw here, currently I'm going to go into see all buying options. When I go into see all buying options, I have $775 as the price at which people are listing this product at right now as third-party sellers. So already this meets my specific criteria to have 2 third-party sellers in that product listing. It's already a well-known brand. And I can see here that the product rank is about 489,000. That's still within our BSR rank of 500,000, okay? And I can see using AMZScout that the estimated monthly sales for this product is specifically 2 times per month, right? That's okay. It is what it is, right? We can still make money from the products that we're selling, and it doesn't matter. Some money is better than no money. And if I take a look at the price chart here for this particular item, what I always want to be able to do when I am using AMZScout is I want to go on a relatively decent timeline, all right? So that means that I'd love to be able to go over a 1-year timeline or maybe even a 2-year timeline to understand the specific demand for this particular product listing. So as I take a look at this, right, I'm then going to be able to see what I really want to look at is how is the rank going about on a year-over-year perspective, right? Now, when you see this blue line here is the product rank. When I see a massive drop for the blue line on the product rank, the reason for this, right, is because as you can see, the date that's indicated around this is the 4th month of the year, right? So you're talking about April. April, it's getting a little bit sunnier. People are starting to, trim their hedges, let's say, for example, cut a little bit of trees or whatnot. So that makes sense to me as to why this particular product is doing significantly well throughout this time of year, because people are in more demand for using chainsaws. So my supplier price here is actually $399 after a $100 discount from the wholesaler. So if I can go ahead and utilize one of my tools that I give all of my mentorship students here, it's called the Amazon Profit Calculator. And this helps us understand exactly what price to list a product at before we actually go ahead and list it. So I'm going to put this in pretty simply, right? If I say that my supplier price is $399, obviously I will account for any shipping if there's anything, but Costco does offer free shipping. The tax is 8%. Based on this and after the Amazon fee, I can see my break-even price is about $506.96. So at this price point, relatively what this would make sense for me to be able to list would be, let's say, for example, perceived value, right? So I'd want to maybe list this at, if I'm not being greedy, I would go at maybe, I would say $599. But if I want to split test, which I can be able to do, I can split test 3 different points, okay? So what I can do is inside of my price here, I'll input my price and watch how everything changes. So if I go $699 as my first split testing price for a week, I can see I'll make $164 from this particular product alone. But I can then be able to see if it doesn't sell for a week, I'll drop it down to $649.99. If I drop it down for $649, I'll make $121 profit. My bare minimum price, I'd list this at $599. I'll make $79 in profit. Now, to be clear here, guys, the BSR is relative, okay? So the BSR is an indication of how well a product does based on this particular price point, right? So if the BSR is $489,000, well, that's because the current price of this exact item is $775, right? So if I can beat their prices by $100, $150, I can then influence the BSR and actually decrease the BSR myself as a third-party seller. So in this specific situation, right, what I would basically say is like, I would go here and I'll write down the first 7 days. I would go list it at specifically $699.99. Then after that, I'd go 7 to 14 days. If I still don't make any sales, I'm going to make it at $649.99. And then 14 plus days, I'm going to list this specific product at, let's say, for example, a total of $599.99. Okay, so just to put in perspective, you can always split test, you can always be in control of your prices, but don't be greedy, right? So just because we see this specific guy here listing this product at $775, I'm not going to go ahead and list it at $774.99. Like, logically, it just doesn't make sense at the end of the day. That's why this product is not selling as well as it actually could be. So always remember, right? Like, this is only one supplier that we're looking at. There's so many different other dropship friendly suppliers that you can utilize, where Costco may only have 5 results from this particular item here. But what about all other suppliers? They might have different variations. They might have different colors. They might have different products in themselves that you can be able to take a look at and you can list, and not just get exposure to only one particular supplier inventory, but multiple different supplier inventories as well. So just to showcase to you that selling on Amazon isn't in fact saturated, you can be able to pick up on particular product listings before anybody else does, to be able to scoop up sales and make sure that you can make the money while you can make the money and then move on from there, right? So this is just a small snippet in regards to the types of product research methods that we follow along with, and I want you guys to go out there and start to implement so that way you can make money. And there's so many different approaches that you can take from this as well, right? Like, if we're in the mid-July right now, I can also take this in the approach and saying, like, I'll take my prompt that I have within ChatGPT here and I'll say, what are the best brand names most well known for, I can say, a specific time of the year, right? So I can say back to school products, right? So in August, when everybody goes back to school, I can take a look at, I know there's a high demand for those types of products in the beginning parts of August, let's say, for the later parts of August. So I can see that I've got Crayola, Papermate, Bic, right? Ticonderoga, Sharpie, Elmer's, Mead, 5-Star, Post-it. Like, this is specific things that nobody actually thinks about, but these are things that actually make the difference for your Amazon account at the end of the day. So don't be afraid to kind of get a little bit more creative with it and think a little bit more about what are people looking for in today's time, depending on what's happening outside with the current economic conditions, what's happening outside with the weather, and what specific events are coming along to be able to ensure that I can be able to capitalize on those events before anybody else actually ever does as well. So just remember that as we follow along with these specific methods, these are just 30% of what you're going to want to be focusing on. 70% of your product categories need to be on your foundational product categories and products that people are looking for day in and day out, no matter what happens in the world, no matter what happens in their life. And that's following along with the 70-30 rule that you want to apply for your Amazon business to have consistent sales, but also the 30% is to be able to get upticks in sales for a short period of time, which is exactly what I've outlined for you in today's video here.